One shocking moment at the Italian Open completely changed the mood around Coco Gauff's tournament run, and fans watching around the world instantly knew something was wrong. In the middle of an emotional battle on clay, the reigning French Open champion walked toward her chair after dropping the opening set and suddenly smashed herself in the head with her racket. Not once, but twice. The crowd looked stunned. Commentators went silent for a moment, and social media exploded almost immediately. But what made the moment even more surprising was what Coco Gauff admitted after the match. The American star revealed she has been dealing with personal struggles away from tennis, and for the first time in a while, fans got a rare glimpse into the emotional pressure sitting behind the smile of one of tennis' biggest superstars. This was not the dominant and relaxed Coco Gauff fans expected to see in Rome. On paper, her match against Solana Sierra looked manageable. Sierra entered the tournament ranked outside the top 70, while Gauff arrived as one of the biggest favorites to win the title. But tennis rarely follows rankings, especially when emotions enter the picture. Right from the start, Gauff looked tense. Her movement was slightly off, her timing was inconsistent, and frustration kept building point after point. Even though she showed flashes of brilliance, the rhythm just was not there. Then came the moment everyone started replaying online. After losing the first set 7-5, Gauff walked to her chair clearly upset. Instead of smashing the racket on the court like many players do during emotional moments, she turned the frustration inward. She hit herself on the head twice with the racket in quick succession. It was not enough to injure her, but it was enough to shock viewers because it showed just how emotionally overwhelmed she was feeling in that moment. What happened next may have been even more impressive. Instead of collapsing mentally, Gauff completely turned the match around. She came back onto the court with a totally different energy and absolutely dominated the second set 6-0. Suddenly, the aggressive shot-making returned. Her footwork became sharper. The confidence started flowing again. By the third set, she looked more composed and eventually closed out the match 5-7, 6-0, 6-4 to survive a dangerous upset. But after the victory, Gauff's comments revealed the bigger story behind the emotional outburst. During her press conference, she admitted she has been dealing with personal issues away from tennis. She did not go into full detail, but her words carried real honesty. She explained that sometimes off-court problems become amplified once a player steps onto the court. That pressure can grow rapidly during difficult moments in matches, especially when expectations are already sky-high. And honestly, that explanation makes complete sense when you think about the position Coco Gauff is in right now. She is only 22 years old, yet she already carries the pressure of a global superstar. She is expected to compete for every major title, represent the future of American tennis, handle media attention constantly, and still somehow appear emotionally perfect every single day. That is an impossible standard for anyone, especially someone still growing both professionally and personally. What makes Gauff so interesting is that she has never tried to pretend she is emotionless. Unlike some athletes who hide everything behind generic answers, Gauff has repeatedly opened up about the mental challenges of professional tennis. Earlier this season, after reaching the semifinals of the Miami Open, she admitted she sometimes deals with imposter syndrome despite already becoming a Grand Slam champion. Imagine hearing your accomplishments announced before matches and still struggling to fully believe they belong to you. That level of self-doubt can quietly affect even the most successful athletes in the world. And this latest moment in Rome fits into a larger pattern that fans have started noticing. At the Australian Open earlier this year, Gauff had another emotional reaction after losing to Alina Svitolina. Cameras caught her breaking a racket after the defeat, and afterward she expressed frustration that television cameras continued showing such personal emotional moments. She explained that she intentionally tried to move away from cameras because she does not enjoy displaying those breakdowns publicly. That comment revealed something important about modern sports. Today's athletes are under constant surveillance. Every emotional reaction becomes a viral clip within minutes. Every frustrated expression gets analyzed online. For players competing in emotionally draining individual sports like tennis, there is almost nowhere to hide anymore. And when someone as famous as Coco Gauff struggles emotionally, millions of people instantly form opinions about it. Some fans criticize the racket incident in Rome, arguing that professional athletes should control their emotions better. But many others defended her honesty and vulnerability. In reality, the reaction probably says more about how difficult professional tennis actually is. Unlike team sports, tennis players stand alone on the court. There are no teammates to absorb pressure, no substitutions, no halftime locker room speeches. Every mistake feels personal because every point depends entirely on you. That isolation can become brutal mentally, especially during long tournaments on the clay season grind. Matches can last for hours. Momentum changes constantly. And if something is already bothering a player away from tennis, the court often magnifies every emotion. Gauff herself basically admitted exactly that after the Sierra match. She said she was trying to focus on remembering why she loves playing tennis in the first place. That line may sound simple, but it says a lot about where her mindset currently is. Sometimes elite athletes become so consumed by expectations, rankings, criticism, and pressure that they temporarily lose connection with the joy that made them fall in love with the sport originally. For Gauff, rediscovering that enjoyment could be just as important as improving any technical part of her game. What should scare the rest of the WTA Tour, though, is the fact that Gauff continues winning even while clearly struggling emotionally. Against both Solana Sierra and fellow American Iva Jovic, she lost the opening set before storming back to win in 3 sets. That shows incredible resilience. Many players completely collapse after difficult starts. Gauff somehow keeps finding ways to recover. Her comeback against Iva Jovic especially highlighted her fighting spirit. Once again she dropped the first set 7-5, and once again she looked vulnerable early. But instead of panicking, she gradually raised her level and wore her opponent down physically and mentally. By the deciding set, she was fully in control. That ability to survive difficult matches is often what separates champions from talented players. Now the spotlight turns toward her massive quarterfinal showdown against Mirra Andreeva. Andreeva has become one of the most dangerous young players in tennis, fearless under pressure and incredibly mature for her age. The matchup feels fascinating because both players represent different stages of tennis stardom. Andreeva is still rising rapidly, while Gauff is already carrying the expectations of an established superstar. The biggest question entering that match is not talent. Everyone knows Coco Gauff has the weapons to beat anybody in the world on clay. The real question is emotional recovery. Can she mentally reset after such draining battles? Can she block out the outside noise surrounding the Racket incident? And perhaps most importantly, can she rediscover the joy she admitted was missing during parts of these matches? Because when Coco Gauff is emotionally free and fully confident, she becomes terrifying on clay courts. Her speed allows her to chase down impossible shots. Her defense frustrates opponents into taking risks. And when her forehand starts clicking consistently, she can completely dominate rallies. We already saw flashes of that level during her comeback against Sierra, particularly during the second set destruction. At the same time, this entire situation may actually strengthen her connection with fans. Sports audiences often appreciate vulnerability more than perfection. Seeing a superstar openly admit struggles can make athletes feel more relatable and human. Gauff is learning in real time how difficult it is to balance fame, expectations, personal life, and competition simultaneously. That is not weakness. That is reality. And maybe that is why this story has resonated far beyond just one tennis match. It is not really about a racket incident anymore. It is about the emotional weight carried by young athletes competing under non-stop global attention. It is about learning how to process frustration publicly while millions watch every move. And it is about trying to stay mentally balanced while chasing greatness in one of the most demanding sports on earth. The scary thing for the rest of the tour is this. Coco Gauff may still be figuring everything out emotionally, but she keeps winning anyway. Even during rough moments, even while battling personal issues, even after losing first sets, she continues surviving and advancing. That resilience is exactly what champions are made of. So now fans are left wondering what version of Coco Gauff we will see next in Rome. Will the emotional struggles continue affecting her performances? Or will these comeback victories actually build momentum heading deeper into the tournament? One thing is certain. Every match now feels bigger because viewers know there is much more happening beneath the surface than just tennis scores. And honestly, that makes Coco Gauff one of the most compelling athletes in sports right now. She is talented enough to win titles, young enough to keep evolving, and honest enough to let fans see the difficult moments too. In an era where athletes are often trained to sound robotic, Gauff's openness stands out. But now I want to hear from you. Do you think Coco Gauff's emotional honesty makes her stronger as a competitor? Or do moments like the Racket incident show that pressure is starting to build too heavily? And can she still win the Italian Open while dealing with everything happening off the court? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.